Hello, everybody. Welcome to Homo Sapiens. Thank you very much for tuning in. I am joined today by none other than Dani St, who is taking up her second co-hosting role. Welcome, Dani. How are you?
Hi, darling. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I love being a repeat
Oh,
visitor. I'm doing well.
it's
How are you?
I'm really good, thanks. It's very nice to have you back. Nice of you to squeeze us in between your holidays.
Uh, between my holidays. Okay, sure, yeah.
You are never not on holiday, or
That
maybe
is,
working abroad, shall we say?
I am shocked that you would say that, but I think the last time, because I don't feel like I go away very often at all. The last
I
time that
thought
I
they
was
all
on
say.
the last time I came on, I think I'd
Mm,
either just gotten back from Hoopla Malta or I was
another
just
holiday, yeah.
going. And
Hmm.
then I went to Hoopla Sydney in
Hmm.
February. Listen, I'm just doing my bit to support my friends. And then I thought I don't know if I've been away apart from that. I went to a little off-grid cabin in Sussex for a few days a couple of weeks ago. And it had like
Oh,
no Wi-Fi, no phone signal, a log-powered hot tub. It was completely in the middle of the forest. That was quite fab.
what were you doing there?
I had I am in a semi relationship of many twists and turns, and
Oh,
we were looking to sort of reconnect, and so I suggested perhaps we do something extreme, and that was the extreme thing that we came to.
is it now I need to be careful here, but so that thing of not having any stimulation, i.e. phones, etc., is called raw dogging, isn't it? So do you know that thing where people do a whole flight where they just look at their phone? But then
Right.
I was going to say, oh, were you raw dogging? But I just don't think I should ask that when it
I
was a
wish
little
that you had just asked
romantic
it without
getaway.
preface, to be honest. So I actually thought it was a huge selling point that we were offline. He, on the other hand,
Mhm,
it's the first time I've ever dated somebody that's younger than me. He is in his
mhm.
20s, and yeah,
Okay.
he took the news
Chapeau.
like a knife to the heart. So that was interesting. Um,
Really?
yeah, I am familiar with the term raw dogging though, because when I was flying to Sydney, my
On
stopover
holiday.
in Singapore was supposed to be 45 minutes and my flight was delayed by an hour. So I missed my stopover and I ended up running around Singapore with this twink that I met on the flight. And and I had said, "Oh, I watched a really great film. I watched Nuremberg on the flight there, and I was like absolutely taken with it." And I said to him, "Oh, I just saw this great film on the flight," and he said, "No, I raw dogged all the way from London to Singapore," and I just thought that is such a sort of incel thing to say to me.
Yes.
I found it really disinteresting when he was trying to explaining it to me. But yeah, so to very long answer, we raw dogged in a cabin for 3 days.
Good to know.
I came back
So,
truly dogged.
well, that's fabulous. That's you.
How about
Another
you?
holiday.
Any dogging recently, darling?
This, do you know what? No, what with the nights drawing out, people can't see your headlights when they flash them. So it's just a bloody nightmare. I'm not getting my bits when I want to. No, but aside from that, all aside from that, all's been great. It's been a very peaceful start to the year for me. In
Good.
my head, obviously the world is on fire and I'm sort of addicted to the news, which is hard. Um, but that's its own thing, isn't it? I feel like Homo sapiens more than ever just needs to be a nice little bubble bath away from all of that. And it's not to not acknowledge the incredible atrocities. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It's not to acknowledge the incredible atrocities going on around the world, but my oh
God, yeah.
my.
I think sometimes it's a case of just recognizing what you can and can't be the tonic too, though, isn't it? I mean, it like kind of harkens back to the message of Not a Phase, of like us realizing that our responsibility was to take people away from how bad it was rather than to remind them of it.
Right.
The 24-hour news cycle and the political situation around the world is, I just feel like it's the craziest that it's ever been. I wonder if it's because we're so informed now in ways that we never have been. But until recent months, I've always been really tuned into political podcasts, news podcasts. I've always read the news. I've always been really, really tuned in. And then especially these last few weeks, I found myself really tuning out intentionally because it's just too weighty, especially with what's happening across the pond. I mean, it's just like a reality TV show, isn't it?
Well, I think that's why it's so all-consuming, because I think there is someone at the centre for it, Donald Trump, who is literally constructing it like a reality TV show with hooks and twists. And so you come back after the break, basically. And unfortunately, I've just let it in and it's trampled all over me. And I stayed up all night when there was the Iran ceasefire, not all night, but, I stayed up and I'm just really, I think because it's I think you're used to these things kind of ending and you go, oh, well, if I just see this out and that turns out okay, then it will be all okay. And actually it isn't turning out like that. And, but in better news, Dani, I have been having lovely emails from listeners asking for, as you know, we are raising money for Not a Phase for this season of the podcast and offering to buy gender-affirming underwear from Zoa, Dani's company. And we've had people writing in and we've been, I'm not going to say actually anything too specific because I don't want anyone to feel like they're being spoken about. But anyway, we've been having requests coming in, which has been really nice. So there's some lovely magic dust being sprinkled.
That's lovely. I actually have not been privy to any of this, so you'll have to let me know privately about said dust.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And another wonderful thing you've done lately, it was Transmission, which was this huge show at Wembley Arena, raising money for Not a Phase and who?
Good Law Project.
Good Law Project, who are just doing incredible things for the trans community, but also far beyond that, right? The Good Law Project.
Yeah, Good Law Project are they're a fantastic. They're not a law firm. I don't know how they would brand themselves. It's a collective of lawyers and people in that field that work towards they take on the cases that seem kind of hopeless. They do a lot around human rights though, and especially over the last sort of 2 or 3 years, they've really focused on what's happening with trans people in the UK.
Dani, just remind us who you had, because it was incredible. Hosted by Ollie Alexander, first off.
Well, hosted by Ollie Alexander and Mighty Hoopla, aka our wonderful friend Glyn Fussell. And produced in partnership with Broadwick Live, who were fantastic. The beneficiaries, obviously us and Good Law Project. And now I was just about to Google the lineup to make sure I don't miss anything out. But I think that probably lets it down. Let me try and remember.
We can do it as a quiz. I'll read it and go on.
Okay. That's good. Okay. Yeah. Because correct me if I'm wrong. 32 acts, I think, and some huge names. Huge names. I mean, I crossed paths backstage with Ian McKellen, and I was like, whoa, wow, yeah.
He just turns up and does it. It's not lip service. He does it.
He just shows up. Yeah. Right. You ready? You ready to do my quiz?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Adam Lambert, Christine and the Queens, Beth
Tick.
Ditto,
Tick.
Bimini.
Tick.
Oh my God, as if I've forgotten. Sugar Babes, Wolf Alice.
These are people who sell out.
Kate
Wembley
Nash
on their own.
Kate Nash was fantastic. Imogen Heap, who performed alongside the Trans Voices Choir.
Beautiful.
Kay Tempest, Tom Rasmussen, who I was heartbroken to not see. I was backstage doing things. Emanike.
Yeah. Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
Oh my God. Let me tell you, I've seen Sophie Ellis-Bextor perform maybe five times. Sophie was wearing this like crystally, shimmery, like amazing outfit. By the way, Sophie was one of the easiest people behind the scenes. She refused travel costs and got the tube there, as did Beverly Knight. Tick her off the list.
Love.
Beverly Knight did a reel because she was on stage in the West End, and she got somebody to film her. She walked off the stage, took the wig off, threw a big coat on, ran out the back door, and got the tube to Wembley and then got off the tube. Wig went back on. She walked straight onto the stage. I had just finished doing a speech, and she walked onto the stage behind me.
That is showbiz.
That's showbiz, baby.
That's showbiz, baby.
That's showbiz.
I love it.
I think I'm trying to think if I got anybody else. I missed off speakers on that as well. Obviously, there was like fantastic speakers in addition to the wonderful acts. So I got Sean Fay, Monroe Bergdorf, all of the power
Zach
lot.
Polanski.
Oh, Zach was there. Yes. Have I missed any of the have I missed any significant performers off of there as well? Oh, Fat Tony, he'll kill me if I didn't. In fact, Fat Tony Bestley, DJs for the night, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Romy of the XX and High as well. Oh my God.
You know,
we're
not here to do an exhaustive list. It was big. It was huge.
I've got to be honest, the planning of that event, it's been going on for probably 9 months before the event, and then it really was all consuming from January all the way.
Are you falling off your chairs?
Oh my God, it's driving me mad. I've had this chair in my office for 2 years, and if I lean on the left hand rest, it goes like this, and I fall, and it happens so often, and I get so angry that you would think I would just replace the chair. And I still haven't, so I'm just putting up with it.
Dani, I said we're raising money for Not a Phase.
Oh, please.
Can I just add something on the end to get Dani a new chair? So Not a Phase is Dani's charity for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, uplifting trans lives and elbows. So it was all consuming for the first 3 months of the year. It really, really took us offline. And because it was so all consuming, I didn't really take stock of how big it was until about halfway through the event itself. Wow. I was just running around. We had a huge media room backstage doing all the outlets that were there, and then it even look. We're lucky enough to be privy to a lot of sort of like great spaces, and we've met so many wonderful people, especially in music and the arts over the last sort of like 6-7 years. But there was a moment that I walked out from backstage, and there's like, I think there was 9,000 people in one room for us, and Christine of Christine and the Queens is just sort of holding counsel in the middle of the stage, and it was just like this acoustic moment within their set. And I walked out, and it was like I had this realization of, oh, this is for us, and it really, really hit me then. And the following morning, actually I won't jump to that bit yet. The other moment that really hit me, and I'm lucky enough to call her a friend and her husband a friend anyway. However, watching Beth Ditto perform Standing in the Way of Control to raise money for Not a Phase. Did you see it? Did you see the performance?
No. I saw it. I've seen a teeny clip. So I was like, oh, she played that.
Chris, she blew the roof off. They last minute managed to get pyrotechnics in predominantly for Beth. And it was like the whole stage set on fire, and she's there screaming, Standing in the Way of Control. And that was like the anthem of my teenage years.
Same.
So yeah, it was just like phenomenal. And as is always the case, I get very, very emotional the following day after everything.
Mm.
I cry after Mighty Hoopla every single year. Glyn, without fail, always gets a very tearful voice note from me after Mighty Hoopla. I cry after
Oh,
London Pride. I'm a, I'm a I'm a real crier across the board. I'm always crying, and
interesting.
yeah, big time crier. And the day after transmission, I was really, really tearful.
And it, do you cry after things because you're quite steely in the moment? Like the reason I ask that is it takes me a while to think
Yeah,
through
I
that.
think so. I think so. In the
Mm.
moment, I'm literally unfazed by anything. I don't get starstruck. I don't get caught out from the stress of it all. I'm very, very calm in a crisis.
Mm.
Where most people go up, I go down in a crisis, and I get quite logical and peaceful. Um,
Oh, me too. Are you
yeah,
ADHD?
yeah. But I don't take the
Um,
meds. I hated the way that the meds made me feel.
I don't take the meds either.
I also have got I also ADHD in the real sense rather than the Instagram sense, which I think I'm just getting on with my life.
Well, it's sort of, when you're diagnosed a bit later, like it is, which I was, like it's, what's the word? The person who I did the consultation with was like, you've probably developed so many things to cope with it
Yeah,
that medication is not necessarily that helpful. And that's just me. That's all I'm talking about me. I don't want
agreed.
to talk on people's behalf. Okay, best bit of gossip from the night.
Oh, I had so much fun running around and being really naughty backstage with Gottmik also on the lineup.
Really?
Gottmik and me have got the same brain, which goes to straight to a place of exclusive naughtiness and mischief at things like that. And we were basically just holding hands, running around backstage, just being absolute nightmares. Once we've gotten over the hump, I'm trying to think if there is any more goss. If anything comes to me, I'll come back to it. I'm trying.
Fine. You can tease us. You can drip feed it throughout. Well, listen, can you say how much you raised?
Still pending. Still
Okay,
pending.
fine.
The invoices are still being added up.
Okay, good. Well, anyway, well done, because I know it took a lot of hard work from everyone, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you,
So
darling.
well
Yeah,
done.
we will be doing something of a similar format next year. We have not worked that out yet. We're waiting for everybody to catch up on sleep before we commit.
You need to live for a moment without it, so you can bring it back in, right? It's one of those, isn't it?
Something like
Um,
that. Yeah.
now, can we just talk about uh, before we started recording? Danny said, "Sure, I can be your token," but so important to say. But I just wanted to talk about this trans people in sport and people being tested for their genetic background in sport. What's being said on the ground in the trans community? Tell me more about how you're viewing it. Dani St.
Okay. Really, really broad subject, by the way. Really, really broad.
Mm,
Um, It depends on which band you're talking about because there are lots of different bands that are taking place simultaneously.
okay.
We're being banned from really funny things like darts and cricket, and I'm like, oh no, I'm sure there was a queue of trans women out the door desperate to play darts. Um, the thing is, I'm 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 gonna
No, you go
I'm
ahead.
gonna try and word this properly. I had just
Can
to
I
give
also
some.
can I just say before we go ahead is there is a new Danny who enters the chat when we talk about serious stuff, and it's a bit like, do you remember when Jennifer Aniston used to say, "Here comes the science part"? Like, there's just a new wise, very powerful person comes into the
Also
chat.
just very selective. I'm
Mm,
always really, really mindful of my tone
mm,
of voice when it comes to my work. Um,
mm.
Whereas I can be a full-time silly goose externally when it comes to my work, and I view the community stuff, I view it that I work for the community more than anything else. It's like the community is my boss. So I'm really
Yeah.
mindful to not say anything too alarming or anything like that.
Mm. Don't
let
be
me
alarmed by the darts thing, everybody.
let me give you a little story actually that will illustrate
Please.
a reason of me being mindful. I one of the projects that we are known for at Not a Phase is called Misfits. Misfits is a fitness, wellness, and self-defense program, and we ran it in partnership with Nike for 3 years, and now we run it without Nike. It came from extensive surveying of the community about 6 years ago, where we asked trans people all over the country what they need most from a newly established trans charity. What do you need most right now? And up there with the responses, the number one response was self-defense, which is obviously an alarming response in itself. And not that far down the list was kind of access and guidance to fitness and wellness. And that mainly came from the fact that it's a completely binary driven area anyway, because it's like, how many push-ups should a man do, how many push-ups will a woman do, how many calories should a man eat, how many calories should a woman eat, and that becomes really confusing when you're trans. And what we know with it, luckily internally with Not a Phase, we've got a lot of people that have got backgrounds and very knowledgeable on fitness and wellness, and we know that a lot of that information is kind of bullshit anyway, so we're able to sort of like break down those boundaries and help people on their fitness and wellness journey. So we actually run sport fitness, wellness classes all over the country, and we see about 4,000 service users a month on those. So we're really well equipped to talk about like trans people in fitness, shall we say. Now, obviously, fitness exists outside of sport and competition. So I'm trying to just give some context as to why I'm very understanding of this arena. A couple of years ago, I was invited to do a public speaking gig at the not the Royal Albert Hall. What's the one near the London Eye? It's that huge
South Bank.
Yeah, South Bank.
Royal Festival Hall.
Royal Festival Hall. I was invited to do a public speaking gig on behalf of Nike for a big thing at Royal Festival Hall. So I was honoured to go and to talk about our work of getting trans people fit and well, and the various benefits that has to the community. Obviously, mental health being the key one. And at the end of a speaking gig that I was really proud of, this speaking gig, I thought I was really sort of like pat on my own back after sort of 45 minutes of me yapping. And I got to the end of that, and they had time for questions, and somebody stood up and asked about trans people in competitive sport, and I gave quite a comprehensive answer on the matter, but within it I said that I don't believe that the majority of people care about this topic. I think it's a very vocal minority that are taking a hateful approach to it, and then I kind of had riffed on that, and somebody had tweeted whilst I was driving home, saying, when asked about trans women in competitive sport, Dani St, CEO of Not a Phase, said, "People don't give a fuck about this." And the tweet had gone like semi-viral. It got great traction because it was exactly what anti-trans people want to see and hear, that we're like, oh, no one gives a fuck, we're taking over, like here's me with a sledgehammer between the men's and the women's changing rooms, like hard hat, let's go. That's what they'd love to think that people like me are doing. That's a really long answer to just give context as to why I was talking about the bands.
No, good.
A lot of these bands are coming in, and they're sort of like I don't know, it's like a somewhat of a virtue signal, but it's completely baseless. There's no statistics to back up any of these issues that are supposedly being avoided by putting a ban in place. The most recent one was a cycling ban. One of the more recent ones was a cycling ban for trans women from the British Cycling Association. And following from that, a group of people, I think it was in Surrey, set up their own competition that was gender free. And it was a case of anybody that can compete and they're within a certain strength category or a certain level of, I don't know what the cycling equivalent of strength is. It was all based on your ability, and a trans woman won. And that it's as is often the case with these things that go viral, it didn't matter that the truth was that this was a thing that was set up in response to the ban. But there was a photo of this trans woman winning, and she was alongside one of her cis women competitor counterparts. And the headlines that surrounded it were obviously like, trans woman squashes hopes and dreams of this poor woman who had knowingly entered into a cycling competition with people of all different backgrounds. But yeah, it's just for me, it's just a further example of like sort of like right-wing media and politics infiltrating other various parts of our life. It's just so disappointing. It's such a and even like down to the Olympics and stuff. The amount of people that these bans affect in terms of like professional sports are, I mean, you could count them on one hand. I just don't believe that this is a significant issue that warrants the amount of hysteria that it's causing. If you think about the amount of people in your life that you have met that are in competitive sports, that's what they do. They take part in competitive sports. Probably you couldn't think of that many that you've ever met. But even within that, imagine that group of people, professional sports athletes, professional athletes that are in their sports, however it's worded, and then you think about the percentage of the population that is trans anyway. Just those numbers should make people worry less. But then think about the amount of trans people that feel exiled from binary-driven sports categories as it is. We're talking about like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. And this is what is consuming a lot of the conversation and the headline and the headlines. And so like, I would love for the conversations to be taken up with like, why has the healthcare system failed? Why can trans people not get into mainstream work? Why, you know, what are the social and economic reasons that trans people are having the odds stacked against them in this country? And instead, I'm getting asked, like, what do you think about this trans woman, Barbara, who wants to do like ice jumping or whatever it is? You know, it's like whatever like random sport wants to ban us. It'll be like competitive fly fishing won't let Denise play. And I'm like, why are you all wasting your time with this? Like, I'm sorry for Denise. It's very sad but more so who I'm sad for are not only the young people on the come up, but it's the people who have yet to establish themselves in the world, who look at the way that people like us are treated in public life, and they go, that is too much for me to handle. I do not want to get myself into the thick of that. And so you just end up with people living in shame and sadness. And it's all baseless. I could go in loops on this one, Chris.
We're talking about, you said a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, but I also think the thing that is being talked about a lot is the fact that it's resulting in a fraction of a fraction of a fraction is resulting in all women being genetically tested in entering the Olympics and things. And it's all and the aggregate result of that on the ground outside of the Olympics, of the fact that like people are constantly being examined for their womanhood or genderhood, you know, and masc and butch femme, masc and butch lesbians, you know, I just think that contributes to the argument that they're not real women, and all those horrible things that we did feel like a little moment ago we were possibly moving away from in some respect.
Oh, we're not. Yeah. I mean, it was a thinly veiled progression, I say, with quotations. Yeah, you're right. You're right to say that, and also this conversation could very easily be applied to the bathroom and changing room bans that are also
Yeah.
taking place at the same time. Sports and gendered spaces bans are taking place all over the UK at the moment. And you're right to say that this does affect all women that do not meet Eurocentric beauty ideals. Also, it's not this is what this country views to be a woman, which for the most part is sort of like long hair, white, mousy looking. Anybody that stands out outside of the British beauty standard is now to be examined. We're already seeing cases of queer women and women from different racial backgrounds, women from different countries being singled out in changing spaces and bathrooms. And this is where we're going to get to, because how are these bans policed? The reality is it's being handed over to onlookers who are walking into bathrooms on a witch hunt with their fingers pointed. That's not a woman. And then once the accusation is made, what takes place then? How is that then followed up? How is that checked? We're stepping into really, really dangerous territory here of policing who is and who isn't a woman.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for talking to me about it.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me be your token.
Which leads me on to, Dani, the other thing that's bubbling up is that there's been a lot of discourse, I think that's the word, online about Pride this year being viewed as a protest, not so much a celebration. Have you heard about this?
I've been hearing about Pride being a protest for a few years.
But
as in like a lot of I've heard of people saying that Pride should be a protest rather than a celebration, specifically over the last few years, much more.
Yeah. Well, we put it to you, listeners. Should Pride be a celebration or a protest? 86% of you said protest.
86% is a lot.
What do you think, Dani? What are you opening there?
Dani's
going through her post.
An example of me just getting distracted and opening.
She doesn't have ADHD either.
This prescription nasal spray.
Oh, lovely. What's your ailment? We do like a medical segment on Homo sapiens.
I'm one of those people who stupidly fell into a trap of using Sudafed every single day for years and years and years. The over-the-counter nasal sprays. Just unblocks your nose.
Right.
It started, I had a cold and it just made me breathe. It made me breathe in HD. And I didn't stop using them. And I got to the point that I was going to like Superdrug and I'd buy 20 of them and have a little stockpile in my house. And I was using it maybe like between 5 and 10 times a day. That went on. Some
people smoke 20 fags a day.
I used to do that as well.
Yeah, good point.
I was a nasal spray junkie, and so I'm currently on the process of kicking that habit by having a steroid nasal spray that's hoping to get my nose working back in order. But I was just trying to slyly get rid of the packaging of that to pop it in my bag.
Slyly.
Obviously not very slyly.
As I can see her doing it on camera. Well, listen,
Okay.
I picked up the dog.
Yeah, you picked up
the drugs.
Oh, one of my dogs was hoping to be picked up as well. Should we let them say hello?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Which one? Who did we meet last time?
I think, did you meet the one that's got 3 legs or the fluffy one?
Oh, 3 legs.
Oh, then meet the fluffy one. Because I kicked the 3-legged one away.
Hi, who's there?
This is Miss Honey.
Oh, no, that's who I saw last time. I
Right,
thought
okay.
Miss Honey was like really, really short hair.
Go away. Let's get
Miss Honey, relegated.
This is the 3-legged one.
Oh.
His harness fell off as I picked her up. Sorry,
And
Pearl.
what's this one's name?
This is Pearl.
Hi, Pearl. How are you? Oh, she's gorgeous. For those on video,
She's great.
Isn't she wonderful? For those on audio, she is a what? A pug?
No, she's a French bulldog, but she's she's got 3 legs. That's her key selling point.
Ridley, can you see? Look, let's see if you can see. Can you see?
Look at us with our stereo.
We've
got this.
I know.
We've got both of the stereotypical gay dog breeds.
We do, don't we? Because they just they go in your handbag. Lovely. So, Danny, what do
Oh,
you want
Pride.
Pride to be this year? This year specifically.
Well, look, it is already feeling not very good this year for me, I'll be honest.
Hmm.
So, and I'm talking, I've got my charity head back on.
Okay.
I we have we've had a long history of doing big visible moments with companies and brands alike through our work at the charity over the last since 2020. And
Hmm.
by this point in the year, we usually have got a very good idea of what that's going to look like for us, what Pride season looks
Wow.
like. We are yet to hear a single response on anything in relation to Pride, which
Wow.
shows that there's been a big corporate retraction from
Mm,
involvement in any sort of Pride activations.
mm,
So I think that Pride being a protest is definitely a big necessity that we can that there is still a great need for Pride celebrations around the UK.
mm,
I worry for what this does mean, though. Not only for, look, we will survive. Not a face. We'll survive. We'll keep on. We'll find other ways and means, and we keep on going.
mm,
However, this does mean that regional prides are shutting down. This does mean that
mm,
the community groups that get all of their visibility and funding from Pride are
mm.
shutting their doors for good. And so yeah, we're in really dangerous territory when it comes to Pride season and the impact that that has on LGBT causes and groups.
That's really interesting because it's sort of something that seems to be happening across the board, but also is has that always been like in terms of working as a charity and being able to support all the kind of great work you're doing? Was it a big revenue stream for you guys?
For the first, especially the first 4 years, it was pretty much our only revenue stream because
Wow.
a lot of organizations and brands only really care when they get the kickback of saying we supported XYZ.
Mm,
And listen,
mm,
I've got no issues with that. I actually am a huge contra contrary to a popular belief within our community, I actually
mm,
think that there's a huge place for brands to stick a rainbow logo up and do something significant during June. I think that it's within our lifetimes that you could have been sacked for openly talking about your sexuality in the workplace. And I think that for
mm,
us to have experienced even just the liberation to be able to show up at our workplaces as our full selves, I think is a great thing, and we should stop shaming companies for doing it.
mm,
Obviously, that also comes from a place of like we should be encouraging companies to carry that allyship through into the calendar of the whole year, you know.
yeah.
But I think that we need to like stop jumping on them when they're doing something visible.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always held that belief though. I think it's important to get on board with it all. You know, it's like there there are people who work in huge companies have to put up with all sorts of horrible scenarios at work. And if they get to once a year stick on the rainbow version of their uniform and they get to meet other LGBT people at their works activation for Pride season,
Mm,
why not? Why not
yeah.
let them enjoy it, you know?
Well, also there's a thing about because it is this thing of there is an argument that goes on, isn't there, that like if companies should do it all year round and it shouldn't just be about pride and things. But I've always been more pragmatic in that sense as well. And I'm always reminded of you remember Mo Molam when she was trying to broker like the Northern Ireland peace deal,
Okay.
and uh, she was negotiating with loads of men, and she said like, if I have to go into that room and pretend I don't know what I'm talking about, I can't remember her exact quote, but as a woman, then I will but we get somewhere as a result, I'm happy to do that because it's
Yeah,
about a bigger thing than me. And I think there is a thing in what you're saying. It can be considered, and I mean this in a positive, a female way of looking at things. You know, it's like you always are slightly zooming outside the situation and being like, how can I create traction? Because you've got to be able to build off something. That's the thing. And it's like if you and I feel very much this. I feel very much the same. It's like if you can, okay, it might not be the perfect circumstances, but think of the great things you can do as a result. And then what makes me worry listening to what you're saying actually is where you're like, you know, let's make this a protest. Not sorry, that's not what you're saying. What people, the listeners are saying is that I think money started to come in when Pride was becoming quite a squeaky clean thing. And if it gets protesty, I think all money is going to evaporate from that. It's not going to be
agreed.
something to
Big.
support. And I really worry about, like you say, the regional stuff, the regional prides, and all of that. It's a real worry.
There is a lens that Pride is viewed through that is far too idealistic. These things don't take place without money, and for corporates to get behind it, you need to toe the line, and that is it's the reality. It's a sad reality for some, but it is just the reality that we need them as we need them to make it possible. As an example, I sat on a couple of sort of like advice boards for Pride in London. So Pride in London and London Pride are two completely separate entities, which not many people understand. London Pride is owned by the Mayor of London, and London Pride is basically like a funding pot that makes Pride happen every year. And then Pride in London are the contract holders of those that are producing Pride for this year. And they get awarded the contract every 5 years. So every 5 years, a new group of people, or like multiple groups of people, place their bids to the mayor's office. And then the mayor's office reviews those bids as to who is going to be most effective at running Pride for London. The mayor's office, these numbers may have changed. The last time I was part of an advisory board for them was, I think, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. The mayor's office was giving, I think at that point, 500,000 to make Pride happen. Whereas Pride, with the additional security, facilities, road closures, insurance, act bookings, stewards, you name the amount of costs that go alongside. Pride in London is obviously the biggest one that we've got in this country. But the amount of costs that go alongside, you're talking like £6 or £7 million for one day.
Wow.
So how are they supposed to get that money without corporate funding? Now, listen, there are bigger conversations that take place in regards to boycott lists, ethical spending. Should they be taking money from arms manufacturers? No. There are ethics conversations to be had, but there is also something to be said for realism when it comes to these conversations. And it is the case of like, we won't have these celebrations if we are not able to find a way to meet in the middle and ethically accept corporate donations.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I'd be really interested to see how it pans out. And yeah,
And
this is
also,
right in.
yeah, on the note of it being a protest, I think that there's place for both. So I think, yes, we should be using it as a visible moment for conversations to be started around why we still have to protest for our rights and how fragile it is for us to keep them. We need to be really upfront with that. But I also love the celebratory element of it. And I remember the hope that gave me as a teenager to go to a field full of people and know that I'm surrounded by people that are just like me. And I love the element of it where you stick on a pair of like rainbow Adidas trainers, Pride edition. You go into Soho, you drink too much, and you go and watch whichever version of Sugar Babes is currently in formation. I think that there is place for both. There's place to be just like loud, silly, and gay, and there's place for us to say, right, now we've got your attention because you just bought those rainbow cherry bakewells. Can I just remind you, there's space for both. There can be two realities at the same time, I think.
I'm so behind that, and that's, you know, you catch more bees with honey than vinegar is always my approach.
And the obvious answer to it is that the sugar babes formation is fine by me, no matter what form it takes, as long as Mucha is involved.
Great.
Favorite sugar babe.
Were Heidi and Mucha ever in the same one?
Yeah.
Were they?
Yeah. The original lineup is Mucha, Keisha, and Siobhan, Lady Loy's bestie. The OG lineup, and then Siobhan left and Heidi stepped in, and it was the three of them for a while.
Oh yeah, and then Amel.
And then Amel came in because Keisha left.
Yes.
And then I think Mucha left in the end, and then another one came in, and then it disbanded, and then it came back OG lineup, the original Sugar Babes.
And it's never been better.
And long may they reign. But who cares? I don't know.
Right,
it was Denise from the ice fishing.
She's got nothing else to do now. Listeners, write in hello@homosapienspodcast.com. Who was that final sugar babe? We need to know who it was. Dani, this has been wonderful. Listeners, also write in. Tell us more about what you're feeling about your pride. Has it been cancelled? Is it happening? Do you know yet? Go ahead, Dani. Who's going to say something?
I am now a trustee of Margate Pride. And let me tell you, you want to feel what Pride really feels like or felt like before it got corporate, come to Margate. It's in August, and it's still without corporate sponsorship. And it's truly wonderful. It's a great Pride.
What date?
I think it's the 8th of August. I think either the first or second weekend of August, the 8th. And I do also happen to be putting on the biggest, gayest after party at the biggest concert venue in Margate after it. And I'm going to be DJing. So come along.
Perfect. Okay, listeners, you need to come along, get your ticket.
Oh, go on.
I am away.
Do you know what? You exist in such a glass house, you know. You are always away.
This is to get me back for the holiday comment from Anne.
Exactly.
Listen. You spend most of your time in a bikini. That's all I'm going to say.
That's because I own a bikini company, Chris. I'm freezing.
Oh. Always working. Always working. Listeners, please write in and other things to say. It's the Homo Sapiens Dog Walk. You do not need to have a dog. It's on the 30th of May in London, Regent's Park. Go to the Eventbrite link in the Homo Sapiens Instagram bio. Lots of you have signed up. More of you need to sign up. You do not need to bring a dog. Listeners who would like some gender-affirming underwear or you'd like to nominate someone, please get in touch. hello@homosapienspodcast.com. We will sort that out for you. We're raising money for Not a Phase this season. I start talking very fast at the end. Dani, you always lift my spirits. Thank you so much.
Love talking to you. Happy to be back and hopefully see you again really soon.
We'll see you again soon. And I'd like to see you in IRL, please.
I'd love that. Oh, I'll invite you to stuff. I've got stuff to invite you to.
Great. All right, listeners. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.